Good morning, traders. Welcome to today's market review. This is Razak at CMTrading. Today is February 2nd, 2018, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the economic events of the day, we're going to start at 11:30 South African time coming out of the UK. GBP Construction PMI number coming out. Now, this obviously is going to be minuscule in relation to the NFP coming out at 3:30 South African time coming out of the United States, but just in case if there are any surprises, you want to know that it's up there. So keep an eye on that at 11:30 South African time. But again, 3:30 South African time, NFP, the second NFP of the year. As we're moving ahead in the year, we had a lot of retracements, a lot of corrections in the markets recently. But just let's take a look at that first. So I'm going to jump here to the Dow, okay, because it's going to be the center of attention later today. As you can see, we've retraced from our all-time highs of 26,670-ish level, okay, down to 26,100. We retraced even below that after the correctional move earlier this week with the FOMC, and then it was like as if it was unchanged. And now, right now, we're kind of setting ourselves in a baseline as we're going into this number. Now, what's interesting about it is that we're at a certain threshold here, okay? Call it a support level, call it a trading range on the bottom of the trading range. How would you like to slice it? This is the first time that we've been in this range, in a ranging kind of pattern, since the beginning or the mid-December area, okay, as you can see here. So things are getting a little bit more volatile, okay, as traders are booking their profits going into the year. But if we do get a decent enough number, we could get that nice bump up again and continue our uptrend, maybe closing up later in the week. So that's something to take a look at today. Now, it could go both ways, obviously. I'm not saying that it's going to necessarily go up, but we're at this threshold, so really have to keep an eye on it, because previously we had a little bit of a resistance here, and we're generally setting up this this bottom line at 26,100. So keep an eye on this later today. Now, what's interesting is that the currencies are also forming some sort of threshold. So we're going to jump here to the Euro USD, and as you can see here in the Euro USD, we've made this double top, 124.90-ish level right here. So this is really pivotal. Okay, so if the Dow Jones goes up, the dollar should go further down, and this should break up even higher. So let's take a look if that actually forays later today. But if it doesn't, then the euro will correct itself and maybe go back to the 123-ish level down here and fill in this, this trading gap. So that's something to really take a note of later today. So you got to really be on top of it later today to just make sure that you're in it to win it. But just make sure that that you're putting in a stop loss, because it's going to be probably a very quick move. So keep an eye on that. As we've continued this massive rally in the Euro USD, this doesn't really look like much of a retracement here. So I'm more inclined to think that the dollar will get weaker, okay, and the Dow will break out higher. But I don't want to celebrate before that happens, as things have rotated a little bit in the markets. GBP USD also all-time highs, close to all-time highs for the year, 142.61-ish level, and also on the brink on the upper range. So it's the same story. So either look for the GBP, the Euro USD, as things resolve themselves later this week. USDs are getting a little weaker here at 1190-ish level, as you can see here, but still relatively strong below the 12 area. So we're still in this lower trading range between 1182 to 1191. But again, if we do have any surprises today, we could definitely bounce us above this 1193. So keep an eye on that as well. Looking at oil. I'm sorry, this is jumping to gold. Trading at 1347, no big surprises here, okay? Gold's been really out of play really this week, just bouncing from 1333 to 1347, but trading in this really tight range. So, again, like I said, we're going into February. February is generally a month where gold actually rallies. So let's say if we do get that, as we were on the bottom of this trading range below. Looking at oil though, oil back to $66 a barrel, okay, making its its comeback as it sold off from earlier this week. We made this V formation. So what I'd like to see is a little bit of a breakout here, okay? A continuation of its upwards momentum. And let's see if we do get that today. We may not get it today. We may get it early next week, or we may correct ourselves. So again, we're at a threshold. We just got to make sure that you're, respecting its levels either on the upside or respecting its levels on the downside. If you do anticipate a breakout, okay, just make sure that if it doesn't go your way and it retraces, makes a double top, that you're protected and that you've put in a stop loss. Now, jumping to the JSC, very weak, okay, we've gapped down and we went, okay. Now this, I would say, would be the trade of the week. And the reason I say that is that we gapped down and we just so weak that we continued breaking down even further. There's a gap and go kind of strategy here, as you can see, and you could have made some really good money, or even earlier in the week from the end of January, early, just early in the week, we gapped down this area after making this, double top almost, and then, slowly gapping further, slowly selling off further, and then gapping even further, and then selling off viciously down here to 52,477. So is this, a leading the market? Not necessarily, but there is a certain weakness of it, okay? We're finding ourselves trading in a certain range, okay? But the question is this going to bring down the rest of the market? Generally not, okay? Because the Dow has been very strong. However, what's disconcerting with the DAX is that we did sell off here. Looking on a weekly chart, you could see in retrospect that we had a double top at 13,500-ish level, and sure enough, we were weak, okay, and we sold off earlier, all right, and then we're just confirming the weakness, and we're trading now at 12,960, okay. So for this to really not break even lower, or maybe continue its slide and continue its downwards trend, okay, it really has to bounce here. I'm not sure if that's going to happen because look at this massive bar, okay, that's real selling. Okay, so we may see a continuation of the selling as this gets depressed even further. But all eyes are on the Dow right now to see maybe it'll save the market a little bit, as it's, retraced from its all-time highs. But remember, always use stop losses, okay? If there's anything else that I could tell you today, just make sure that you keep your stop losses tight because it could be fierce and fast, okay? This is Fred Razak. I want to wish you guys a great trading day. Thank you.